Hello, my friends. I am so glad you are here today. I hope this moment feels calm and pleasant for you. Find a comfortable place. Take a slow breath, and let your mind become quiet for a moment. Today, we will listen to a true and very interesting story. It is the story of a small restaurant, two brothers, a clever kitchen idea, and one salesman who saw something very special. Today, we are going to learn how McDonald's began. Can you imagine a busy street in California many years ago? Cars are driving past. People are hungry. Children want something tasty. Workers want food that is fast and cheap. And two brothers are thinking very hard about one question. How can we serve food better, faster, and more simply? That question changed restaurant history. Our story begins in San Bernardino, California, in the year 1940. Two brothers, Richard McDonald and Morris McDonald, opened a restaurant called McDonald's BBQ. People often called them Dick and Mac. Their restaurant was a drive-in. This means customers stayed in their cars, and workers brought food out to them. At that time, this kind of restaurant was popular in America. The menu was big, very big, and it had many different foods. At first, the restaurant did well. Many people came. Cars filled the parking area. Food was moving out of the kitchen, money was coming in, and the brothers were successful. From the outside, everything looked good. But Dick and Mac were careful men. They watched closely. They asked questions. They noticed what customers really wanted and what parts of the business caused problems. Slowly, they saw an important pattern. Most people were not coming for everything on the menu. They were coming for a few simple foods, hamburgers, French fries, and drinks. Those foods were the real stars. At the same time, the large menu made work harder. Car hops had to move everywhere. Orders took time, mistakes happened, and the kitchen was busy in too many ways at once. This is one of the most interesting parts of the story. Many people see a busy business and think, good, do not change anything. But the McDonald brothers did not think that way. They were ready to stop, study, and begin again. That was a brave decision, because change can be risky, especially when a business is already making money. So in 1948, the brothers made a very bold choice. They closed the restaurant for a time. Yes, they stopped the business to rebuild the whole idea. They looked at the menu, the kitchen, the service, the speed, and the cost. Then they created something new, something much simpler and much faster. When the restaurant opened again, it was very different. The menu was much smaller. The brothers focused on the foods people wanted most, especially hamburgers, fries, and drinks. They removed many other items. This made the kitchen easier to control. Workers could do the same jobs again and again and become very fast at them. They also changed the service style. The old car hop system disappeared. Customers now walked to the restaurant, ordered at the counter, took their food, and ate it themselves. This saved time. It also saved money. The brothers were cutting away anything slow, anything expensive, and anything unnecessary. But the biggest change was inside the kitchen. Dick and Mac created a system that later became famous. It was called the Speedy Service System. This system treated the kitchen almost like an assembly line, a little like a factory. One worker did one job, another worker did another, and the food moved quickly from step to step. Everything had its place. Everything had an order. Everything had a time. Try to picture that kitchen for a moment. One man grills the meat. Another puts buns in place. Another adds the right toppings. Another prepares the fries. Another handles the drinks. Nobody is guessing. Nobody is walking in circles. Nobody is making long, fancy meals. The work is simple, clear, and fast. That was the genius of the brothers. They understood that speed is not only about moving quickly, it is also about creating the right system. And the customers noticed. They could get food very quickly. The prices were low. The taste was familiar. The service was easy to understand. This was not a place for long waiting. It was a place for simple food made fast. In a growing car culture in America, that idea was powerful. There was also another clever part. The brothers cared about consistency. That means the food should be the same each time, not good one day and bad the next day. If a customer liked the hamburger on Monday, the hamburger should taste the same on Friday. This idea sounds normal to us now, but at that time, it was very important and very smart. So, was McDonald's created by Ray Kroc? Many people think that, but the real answer is more interesting. The first McDonald's restaurant was created by the McDonald brothers, Dick and Mac, in San Bernardino. They built the first successful system. They created the fast kitchen model, and they showed that a small menu and quick service could work beautifully. But the story does not end with the brothers, because now another man enters, and he changes everything again. His name was Ray Kroc. Before he became famous, he was a salesman. He sold milkshake machines. One day, he noticed something surprising. A small restaurant in California had ordered many of his machines, more than most places needed. Ray wanted to see this restaurant with his own eyes. Imagine Ray Kroc arriving in California. He is curious, maybe a little tired from work, maybe expecting an ordinary restaurant. But then he sees something different. He sees a place that is busy, fast, organized, and full of energy. The kitchen runs smoothly. Customers get their food quickly, and the whole operation feels sharp and efficient. Ray understood very fast that this was not just another hamburger stand. He saw more than a restaurant. He saw a system, and a good system can travel. A good system can be copied. A good system can grow. That was Ray Kroc's great insight. The McDonald brothers had created something wonderful in one place, but Ray believed it could become something much larger. In 1954, Ray began working with the brothers. Then, in 1955, he opened his first McDonald's franchise in Des Plaines, Illinois. This was a very important moment. It was not the first McDonald's restaurant ever, but it was the beginning of the large expansion that made the name famous across America and later across the world. Ray Kroc believed strongly in standard rules. He wanted each restaurant to prepare food in the same way. He wanted customers to know what they would get, no matter where they were. He cared about quality, service, cleanliness, and value. These ideas became central to the company's identity. This part of the story is very human. The McDonald brothers and Ray Kroc were connected, but they were also different. The brothers were inventors of the system, careful, practical, and focused on one excellent restaurant model. Ray Kroc was more ambitious about growth. He wanted many restaurants, many cities, many franchise owners. He wanted the system to spread everywhere. Sometimes in history, one person creates the idea, and another person carries it much farther. That is what happened here. The brothers built the heart of the system. Ray Kroc built the giant chain. Both parts matter. If you remove the brothers, there is no special system. If you remove Ray Kroc, the system may stay small. As the years passed, McDonald's grew quickly. More restaurants opened. More people learned the name. The Golden Arches became famous. The company reached major milestones very fast. By 1958, McDonald's had sold its 100 millionth hamburger, and the growth continued. Then another big moment came in 1961. Ray Kroc bought out the McDonald brothers for $2.7 million. After that, he had more control over the company's future. By then, hundreds of restaurants had already been established, and the business was becoming a major American success story. Some people feel happy when they hear this story, because it is a story of invention, courage, and growth. Some people also feel a little sad, because the two brothers who created the first great system did not become as famous as Ray Kroc. That happens in history sometimes. The builders of the beginning are not always the stars of the ending. Still, the truth is clear. McDonald's was not born in one magical second. It grew in steps. First, two brothers opened a drive-in restaurant in 1940. Then, they studied their customers. Then, in 1948, they rebuilt everything around speed and simplicity. Then, Ray Kroc saw the power of their model. Then, in 1955, the franchise era began. Step by step, the company became what the world now knows. I think this is what makes the story so interesting. McDonald's was not only about burgers, it was about observation. The brothers watched carefully. It was about courage. They closed a working business to improve it. It was about design. They built a faster kitchen, and it was about vision. Ray Kroc saw that the model could grow beyond one city. Let us go back in our minds, back to San Bernardino. Imagine the brothers standing in the kitchen after closing time. The floor is quiet. The lights are still on. Maybe there is a notebook on a table. Maybe one brother is speaking and the other is listening. They are not thinking about a giant world company. Not yet. They are thinking about smaller things. How many seconds does this take? Why are people waiting? Which foods sell best? How can we do this better tomorrow? Sometimes history begins exactly like that, with practical questions in a quiet room. Now imagine another scene. Ray Kroc walking through that restaurant for the first time. He hears the sounds of the kitchen. He sees the line moving. He watches people take their food and go. Maybe in that moment he feels what many successful people feel at the beginning of something big. Not certainty, but possibility. He sees that this simple little restaurant carries a much larger future inside it. And maybe that is the deeper lesson of this story. Great things do not always begin with luxury. They do not always begin in rich buildings. Sometimes they begin with two brothers trying to solve everyday problems. Sometimes they begin with simple food, a clean counter, a smaller menu, and a better idea. McDonald's also teaches us something about modern life. People are busy. People often want food that is quick, familiar, and affordable. The brothers understood that early. They did not try to be everything for everyone. They tried to do a few things very well. That focus helped change restaurant culture forever. Today, when people see McDonald's, they may think of fries, burgers, drinks, signs, family trips, or busy streets. But behind all that, there is an older story, the true beginning. San Bernardino, 1940, then 1948, Dick and Mac, the speedy service system, and later Ray Kroc carrying the model into a much bigger future. So, who really created McDonald's? The honest answer is this: Richard and Morris McDonald created the original restaurant and the fast service system that made it special. Ray Kroc later turned that powerful idea into a huge franchise business. It was one foundation, and then one expansion, one invention, and then one giant act of growth. And that is why this story still matters. It reminds us that history is not only kings, wars, and presidents. Sometimes history is also a kitchen, a menu, a machine for milkshakes, a smart system, and people who notice what others do not see. A hamburger restaurant may sound simple, but behind it can be a very big idea. Thank you very much for listening with me today. I hope this true story of the creation of McDonald's was calm, interesting, and easy to follow. You are doing something wonderful every time you listen to English stories like this. Step by step, word by word. Please tell me what true story you would like to hear next. And if you enjoyed our time together, please like, comment, and subscribe.